lot more to it now. But anyways, I dreamed about being a Marine since I was a little kid. Finally joined the Marine Corps. Had a great experience. Incredibly fortunate for my Marine Corps experience. And I wanted to stay in, and move on to do bigger and better things in the Corps, but I was medically retired. And as soon as I left the infantry, I was really depressed because I loved the infantry. I loved the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sense of family, the sense of purpose, the level of intensity with which we did everything. And I had a bunch of journal entries written throughout my service, and especially in Afghanistan. I started turning those journal entries into better written stories. I started learning how to write better. And as I started sharing my stories with people, I realized that a lot of guys I knew connected with them, and guys I didn't know. And then I was in a Wounded Warrior Battalion at Naval Hospital, San Diego. I was never hit by enemy fire. I just keep breaking. I break. I sneezed this morning. I think I broke this rib. After this hike, I'm literally going into the hospital. No, I never hit by enemy fire. I'm just weak. I'm made of brittle glass. So, anyways, as I was getting out, I started writing, and then right when I got out, or not long after I got out, one of my good friends who I met at the time killed himself. Yeah, and he was such an incredibly nice person, and he was my biggest supporter. And he would text me all the time about what I was doing meant to him. And so when he killed himself, I was crushed. Because I know it's a very. I was saying, how did I deal with his death? It was first was to reminisce. Second was to. I allowed myself to be sad for a while.
Which is very difficult to do sometimes. If anything, just period.
Sure. And then I very quickly thought, I have to do something. And I realized that he had been such an important part of my writing that it would almost be wrong not to do something for him. Terrible spot. Don't make us So I knew that I had to do something for him because I had never fully thanked him enough and shown him how grateful that I was for his help, because he actually did guide what I was doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this to him. So I dedicated, my first dedication in the book was to him. And as I started sharing my story and sharing what I was doing, more and more people started identifying with my pain and what I felt, and started sharing, yeah, my friend committed suicide too. My buddy committed suicide too. I'm starting to hear it all over the place.
Bombarded by the people that need to hear it.
Yeah, and so
is that why you use your dark humor to kind of let them show or let them see that it's okay to feel the pain, to let it out, to show it themselves?
Sure, absolutely. It's the dark humor is a coping mechanism that is, as you know, it's used in combat.
Yeah, and I can relate totally.
Very soon after somebody gets hurt, the jokes start flying again. Because if they don't, what are you gonna do? Cry? You're grunts in combat. No, you can cry for a little bit, but you have to continue doing your job. And the way you go run towards your death is with a smile on your face and with humor. You're not going to do it all serious, like the movie show sometimes. No, it's not how it is. There's a lot of humor involved in a job filled with tragedy.
Is that why you get, by what I've read in your article, is that why you get ridiculed by the people that don't understand or can't relate? And how do you deal with that also?
I actually have not received as much criticism as I thought I would for my humor. And I think that's because within the book are so many messages that can help someone who's dealing with pain. I shouldn't generalize pain. Help someone who is dealing with pain from war. And so as a result, I haven't received that much criticism. For that, I'm fortunate. It doesn't really matter because I didn't write the book for civilians. I didn't write it for the masses the way every other war book has written. I wrote the book specifically for combat veterans, for someone who's been there, who's run into the fire and run towards the sound of guns.
Maybe that's why I was so attracted to reading the first chapter of your book, because it did hit home for me, because again, like you said, you're running towards your death.
Yeah.
With a smile on your face. And but at first, how scared were you because of that? And did it affect you? Did it affect the way you're living now?
No. It's funny, while I was there in combat, I was waiting for the time that I got really, really, really scared. And it didn't happen for until bullets were snapping over my head. And then I finally felt the fear. My whole body shook. But I had mentally prepared myself for it since I was a kid, literally, watching Vietnam War movies.
Maybe that's why I was also interested in joining the Army, because of that.
Yeah, I wanted to know that feeling. And I wanted to know how I would respond so that there was never a question in my mind that I could handle it. And so when I did it, I handled it fine. And then it got easier. Easier and easier and easier. So there were really only a handful of times when I was really, really scared. And it lasted seconds. That's it. Literally seconds, and then it was gone.
Did you feel like you needed that rush every time it was gone?
I wanted it, yeah. I absolutely wanted it. I loved it. Now, granted, I was fortunate, I didn't, what I experienced was nothing compared to what other guys have experienced. Absolutely nothing. So I want to make that clear, that, I did cool stuff as a grunt, but it's nothing compared to what many other grunts have done. I embraced my situation, and I embraced where I was, and I enjoyed it. And it was literally the best time of my life. So I'm very fortunate for that. And I don't want to take away from the tragedy that other guys have experienced. I just have not experienced as much. And yeah, I want to make that clear.
Is that why you were inspired to do Irreverent Warriors?
Irreverent Warriors was inspired because as I started sharing what I wanted to do with veteran suicide, friends of mine started saying, well, dude, you've been throwing parties and getting your friends together since you were 17 or 16. I've always been the go-to guy to get everyone together. So they're like, get vets together. Create something that brings everyone together and gets them to have the same good time that you've been creating for all your other friends since you were young. And I was like, yeah, duh. I'm an idiot for not thinking of it sooner. So I did what my friends told me to do, and that's how Irreverent Warriors came about. And it took a while to get to the name. I actually hired a branding coach who came up. I didn't even know the word irreverent existed. And most people don't either. People think irrelevant. No, irreverent. She said irreverent means an inability to take serious things seriously, and I was like, that explains my personality in one word.
And a lot of grunts really do.
And the whole infantry.
Yeah, exactly.
Special operations, combat guys. It explains us all in one word. So anyways, that's how Irreverent Warriors came about.
When and where did this idea come from, actually?
So when it was in March, it was in May. May, I believe, was the month when my branding coach, branding mentor, I guess, business mentor, brought up the name Irreverent. She wanted me to use Irreverent Lieutenant and make that the title of my book. Call it Irreverent Lieutenant, make it into a franchise. But then I wanted to include so many, like Lieutenant doesn't include enough people. So I threw in Warriors to include every branch, because I didn't want it to be specific to officers, and I didn't want it to be specific to the Marine Corps. I wanted Warriors to encompass all Warriors, any branch, any service, whatever. And Warriors includes cops and firemen too. So I wanted to have a title that included everyone, and that's how Irreverent Warriors came. I did a whole bunch of drawings myself that sucked, and pictures to try and come up with the logo. And then it was finally a friend of mine came up with the idea for throwing the grenade carelessly behind him.
I was seeing it and I'm like, yeah, that's something I would do too.
Yeah. And even if you've never thrown a grenade, that just looks cool.
That looks cool.
Like,
exactly.
I would love to do that. So my good friend, he was actually in the Air Force. We've been best friends since we were 12.
Oh, right on.
And I joined the Marines, he joined the Air Force. We came back together to live in my grandma's house when we both got out. And
how was that actually? Because I know that all the branches, like I'm Army, you're Marine, but we always compete. How did you guys deal with that?
There was no competition. He was just like, he's like, dude, I'm not even gonna try to compete. I'm in the Air Force. And he, not only that, he was an Air Force mechanic and paperwork. He was. Yeah. There was no competition. There's nothing but love there.
There's a like I said, the camaraderie of being an Irreverent Warrior, because I'm pretty sure he's probably seen and done things also. Possibly, we don't know. But
he didn't do that much.
Yeah, like you said, he pushed papers and.
He's just really smart, and he's just very creative, and he just knows how to. He knows my audience because he's known me since I was 12. So he's met all of my Marine friends. He supported me through everything that I've done in my life, not just the Marine Corps, but in my life. And he knows everyone. He's that guy that everyone thinks is the funniest guy ever. I like to think I'm funny. He puts me to shame.
Oh, hell. What I read from you was great. It got me busting out laughing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So anyways, he came up with the idea for throwing the grenade behind him. I pitched to a couple other friends, and I ended up throwing up around 99 designs and worked with a bunch of leads to kind of finally come up with that logo. And I actually have a few other logos. I've got a guy running with an M4, kind of like a Wounded Warrior project, but he's kind of a blow-up doll. In one arm. It's wrong, but
wrong, yeah.
Fronts love it.
That dark humor that
it's right. It's wrong.
It's wrong.
If it's wrong, it's funny.
Exactly. It's something most people don't touch. Like, for example, like your friend's suicide.
Yep.
To go back to that.
So it was harder to lose a guy to suicide than to lose someone in combat. And I didn't actually watch any Marines die. I'm very lucky. I did watch some get hurt, blow legs off, but I didn't watch anybody die. So for that, I am fortunate. That creates demons that a lot of guys have that, I'm not going to touch that. I never saw it. Close. Like we thought he was going to die. He stepped on, I don't remember how many pounds of ID was, but a lot. Blew his legs off really, really freaking high. So, but honestly, at the time, I was just like, I watched it happen in my scope, and I was like, God damn it. All right, what do we do next?
Kind of cold because of the job.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing with me, because I being a sergeant myself, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like, damn, now what? All right, next mission, what's going down?
Yeah.
So I can totally understand.
Yeah. Continue, carry on with the mission, and then process later.
Exactly.
So it's like when we got back to base, you know, the mood was definitely bad. You know, it sucked for everyone. You know.
But of course, I'm pretty sure you were the one that brought the humor into the whole situation. I'm sure.
Yeah. You know, I was cracking jokes not too long after, but I'm not going to take credit for that. It wasn't just me. Everyone. All the Marines participated in being Marines, which is pushing past tragedy to carry on the mission. So I'm not going to say like it was me that did it. It was everyone. It was Marines being Marines. You're looking handsome.
Thank you.
You're looking hot.
Oh, thank you.
He's looking handsome.
Can you briefly explain to us what Irreverent Warriors means to you and what you're looking forward to become in the future for everyone else?
Okay, yes. So, great question. So, to me, Irreverent Warriors represents a group of guys that you can count on to have a great time with, to be able to open up to about whatever's going on in here, and to be supported by. That's what this represents to me, and what I hope represents to everyone. So what my goal is for Irreverent Warriors is for Irreverent Warrior groups to pop up all over the United States. And I want to see these little things coming up on Facebook pages, meetups, and little walks, hikes, VFW meetings under the Irreverent Warriors name. Actually, it doesn't even have to be under the name. That's not what it's about. It's not about the name. It's about just guys getting together to do this. It means, yeah, exactly. I mean, some dude out in some small town in Ohio sees this, sees how much fun we have, looks at all of our comedy, and is like, yes!
That's us.
You know what?
Yeah, that's me.
I need to put this together. So he starts, putting up posters, putting up signs, texting all his buddies in his area, his AO, and he gets everyone together. And he puts them together at some VFW post out in some small town in Ohio. And, you know, maybe it's like 10 dudes, but those 10 dudes will be better for it. And that's what I want to have happen. And this is, it really, truly is all about love. I love the brothers that I serve with. There's a connection there that each woman I've dated since I've come back from Afghanistan has been jealous of. Constantly jealous of the love that I have for my friends because it's not as much as it is for them, and they can't understand it. It's my love for the guys that I serve with that motivated me to create something that could bring them together. Because when I am surrounded by a group of guys I serve with, the energy that gets created amongst us, the laughter that we share, the gayness that we express for each other, it is so powerful and intense. I mean, this is why I'm so passionate about this. I'm very fortunate because I was loved by my parents, loved by my whole family, loved by all my friends, like just loved throughout my whole life. I was in a fraternity in college, and every single guy that I was in the frat with are still very, very close, text each other on a daily basis, get together on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis, depending on how far we are. Like, that love is powerful. But what I experienced with my combat veteran brothers is exponentially more powerful than that. And getting them together, it's just like, I just want to put my arm around every single one of them and laugh. And it's powerful, and all of us feel the same way. And so that's what we're going to do all day today. We're going to have our arms around each other, we're going to slap each other's asses, and we're just going to laugh and love. And that is healing. That's why this is so important for all of us. And it extends beyond just the guys that I serve with. it's just my love for, like, a lot of these guys, I don't know. But I walk up to them, just the fact that they showed up here, I have love for them. Like, it's something is there. And that can grow into something big and powerful. When a bunch of people come together for any reason, whether it's laughter or love especially, they can do really, really incredible things. So I've been very fortunate to have people help me put all this stuff together. And it's out of, for one, it's guys I serve with, it's out of love for me, and it's out of love for the cause. So I want other groups who want to experience that love to do the same thing, and to join up.
Last question. What is your ultimate definition of love and what it means to you?
Love means, to me, that I feel better about life when I am with someone. When I'm with someone I love. When I'm with someone I love, I feel better about life. And when I'm with someone I love, I am willing to sacrifice what I want for what they want. That's my definition of love.
To the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine.
It was harder to lose a guy to suicide than to lose someone in combat.
The reason that we're here is because the awareness we want to raise is that the best way we can prevent another guy from putting a gun to his head and pulling the trigger is to do this. That's it. This is therapeutic. Getting together. How many people here didn't know more than 3 people here? Right? How many of you have hugged at least 10 dudes and said you loved them? No! This is what we do. Okay? We've got families who love us, women who love us, friends who love us who are in the civilian world, but they'll never understand what we have together. When we come together like this, whether we know each other or not, this is therapeutic. This is the awareness I want to raise.
Because it was the love for my friend who killed himself that caused me to reorganize my whole book, which started out as a horrifically inappropriate war comedy. And it was my love for him and my pain with his death and my need to give meaning to his death that caused me to dedicate the book to suicide and use the book as a platform for preventing it.
That's the biggest thing we miss is the brotherhood. Am I right? Right. That's the same way we're going to defeat these demons, as a family, as a brotherhood. Good to go? Right. You guys need them tips? Yeah.
It was my love for the guys that I served with that motivated me to create something that can bring them together, to heal. Because when I'm surrounded by a group of guys I've served with, the energy that's created amongst us, the laughter that we share, the gayness that we express for each other, it's powerful and intense. It's something that cannot be replicated with anyone who has not experienced what we have.
I was married to a Marine for a while. It was a weird lifestyle, very hard to deal with, but I understand these guys have a lot of trauma to deal with when they come back. And this group, when I was approached by Danny, he was telling me that they want to raise awareness for their brothers. They want people to know that there's somebody out there and they don't have to suffer and they don't have to be inside their own heads. There's ways around it.
To me, Irreverent Warriors represents a group of guys that you can count on to have a great time with, to be able to open up to about whatever's going on in here, and to be supported by. That's what this represents to me, and what I hope represents to everyone. So what my goal is for Irreverent Warriors is for Irreverent Warriors, Irreverent Warrior groups to pop up all over the United States. And I want to see these little things coming up on Facebook pages, meetups, and little walks, hikes, VFW meetings under the Irreverent Warriors name. Actually, it doesn't even have to be under the name. That's not what it's about. It's not about the name. It's about just guys getting together to do this.
Love means to me that I feel better about life when I'm with someone. When I'm with someone I love, I feel better about life. And when I'm with someone I love, I'm willing to sacrifice what I want for what they want.